Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. It's a beautiful day out, and we're blessed again with some good Florida winter weather. And nice. Let's hope it's almost over, though. I want to thank you all for coming, because it's your presence that makes a difference. You know what to do. We're going to start off each one of our forums from now on by introducing and thanking one of our many, many great residents. We have so many residents that do so much. We have so many talented residents. And one of our talented residents that I want to thank this morning is a man named Ron Gardner. Okay? Mr. Gardner, among other things. Ron likes to tell the story that he was out. They live there now, he and Emily, for about, this is their 4th year. And he likes to tell the story that he used to do morning walks. And on one of his morning walks, he discovered a thing out back called the garden. Now, the garden in those days, how many years ago was that?
That was 4 years ago.
4 years ago?
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah. It wasn't much of a garden. Okay, it was run down, and I think Fred Gardner had a plot of something back there, and except for that, there wasn't much going on in the garden. So we called Martha, who was one of the predecessors of Tiffany, if you all remember Martha. She was a fine lady. Said, hey, I'd like to have a couple of these plots and see what I could do with them. And she said to Ron, take them all. Because there wasn't anything set back there for what Fred had. And so he did. And he started working on it all by himself. He planted some pineapples. And then, lo and behold, there was this pesky rabbit who started eating his pineapples. Okay? And he wrote an article about the pesky rabbit and about how it was mean and vicious and how he was setting traps and so forth to try to get him. And he eventually won the rabbit battle, by the way. But in the process, he wrote an article about the mean old rabbit and what he was doing to his pineapples and so forth. And next thing you know, people were asking him about the garden and about how things were going back there. And could they have a plot? And boy, it grew from there. It just mushroomed, okay? If you look at the garden today, it's a magnificent work. Fantastic. A credit to our community, credit to Ron, and a credit to all the people that work back there. It just goes to show what the power of one man can do for one lady. Okay? When you get an idea and you start it and it's a good one, and it grows and it mushrooms. And it's all about dedication and leadership. So thank you, Ron. You want to come up here and say a few words, my friend?
Well, okay, just a couple or 3 or 10 or 40. I do have a couple of people that really need special thanks. Ed and Linda, whatever their last name is. Newton, yeah, thank you. Were my first 2 people that I convinced to grow a garden. And Frank Twait was right there along them. Frank had an additional project that he started later on. He started painting all my garden boxes all the way around it. Looks like a rainbow out there. You can see the garden now from about a mile away. And that's been a help. But there's been a number of people, Jane, Chris, Ed, and I have a thing with names. I think I've mentioned that a couple of times. But anyway, there's been a number of people that have really been fundamental in this, including Chris over here. He's my number 1. He's my number 2, and my main scrounger.
All right.
He can find anything somewhere, and so we get along. We get a few things done now and then. But anyway. It's not all work. There's a little pleasure in there.
You had a party, I understand.
Oh, I had a party. We started out with just me, 2 people, And that was 4 years ago. We're now up to 60 people out there and a few honorary members. But we had a party here, we call it the Happy New Year party, and over 30 people showed up for it. Now that's in the middle of this pandemic, and they still came out. So I got a good bunch of people out there. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Ron. And they have great leadership thanks to you. So I thank you for all you've done for the community and making the garden a special thing, as it is. Okay, next up, we have a presentation by Robin and Chris. They're going to talk to us. What are you talking about this morning, Robin?
What do I ever talk to? So we'll do the best we can to buzz right on through this. This presentation is brought to you by Roro, and the objective of the presentation today is to get any ideas you have of how to make this program more successful, more effective, for some reasons that will become obvious here very shortly. First, I'd just like to read this particular quote, or at least allude to parts of it. The important idea is if we're going to have any changes, that somebody has got to change their mind, to change their way of thinking, of feeling about things, and then take action on that. A couple of examples that just seem to just happen in the United States that came to my mind as we were putting this together was how many people still smoke in comparison to the number of people who used to smoke. That's an epiphany. That just changed. One day it was just not cool to smoke. It was a curse. Another thing, littering. Remember how folks used to just throw most anything out the window of the car as they tooled down the road? Do you remember that picture of the chief with the tear rolling down his eye on his face? That, for me, that was the thing that changed it for me. And I'm sure it was something for every one of you. It's the same thing about recycling. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But if you do, it's because you've changed your heart and mind about the way you look at it. And I think that's the way the world is going to go eventually. Okay. Why does Regency recycle? There's no downside to recycling at all. It's good for you individually because you used to live in a home. And if you recycled at that home, you still have the same privilege of recycling in your current home, Regency Oaks. It's certainly not bad for the company because it allows us to reduce the landfill and the waste, and it allows us to dispose of things properly and responsibly. It supports LCS's sustainability objective, which was, it's considerably better with LCS than it used to be with Brookdale. I guess that's all I have to say. They really care about it. I'll show you in a minute. And it supports one of the goals that Roro set up this year, which was to help Regency Oaks implement their Extraordinary Impressions program. Next, please. Here's some examples. This was from February of this last year when we had our presentation on LCS and just before we cratered with the pandemic and everything went away. But the first one over there on the left, that's something they have done here. That's the LED lighting, which has significant positive effects in terms of sustainability. And then you'll notice right there in the middle, waste and recycling. In their objective, the way they've stated it here, the idea is reduce, reuse, don't discard, recycle, okay? So the way that the Roro Group has chosen to address this year, and for us to address it, is their fourth objective, as presented on the 15th, was to implement Extraordinary Impressions and focus on turning our campus into a reflection of the 10 hospitality goals and promises of LCS. The two we're focusing on recycling apply to us as residents, as well as perhaps to associates. One is to hold ourselves and others accountable. And secondly, paying attention to details. I'm not going to spend any time on this at all, hardly, because you know everything about it. This is a resident program. For me, it was started by Ace Wiederman back when I first came here, and I've stayed with it. We had advocates in both buildings. Chris and I worked pretty much seamlessly on questions about recycling. His reflects the situation in the North Building, which is a little different than our situation here physically. It's a part of the Health and Safety Committee focus. We've showcased it through Tuesday talks, focused on it in the Oaks. We've had signage of all kinds, and we did 2 updates in the last year, I guess, or previous year, for associates in all staff meetings. Next one. This is an example of our most recent signage. And I hope this is useful to directors too, because it was addressing some of the problems that people have said. Boxes. Well, this was one of the attempts that we have made to come up with ways of keeping recycling and awareness high and ways to do it easy. Now what I'm going to do is turn this over to Chris for the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Get a bigger lip on this thing. Okay, we've got known problems, and the main one is plastic film. We have plastic bags, plastic sheets, plastic wrapping, plastic bubble wrap, and they're a problem. And remember, these are waste management's rules. These are not established by Regency Oaks. We have to deal with the company that picks up the recycling. Tanglers is a business term. They got hoses and cords, and most of those are electric extension cords, that type of thing. And you say hoses. Well, we did find a garden hose in the recycle stream, believe it or not. We're pretty sure it wasn't a resident, but watering the lawn or anything. So we got that out of before it hit the recycling stream. And basically, Rob and I came up with basically the top 4 or the big 4. It's paper, cardboard, plastic bottles, and cans. What happens when, you can go to the gummed up works, there we go, you've seen this one before. The plastic material and the tanglers just gum up the works. And waste management has to shut down their system. So when they shut down the system, there's workers being idle. It costs waste management a lot of money, plus the fact that the guy's got to clean it. I don't know how they do it, but that's expensive. So rather than increase the fees for the all their customer base, they decided to put cameras in their trucks to find out who the abusers are. And guess what? We're one of the abusers. And we got fined. Regency Oaks got fined several $100 a couple of times. And that's a problem. Now, can we just identify the abusers? No, because you're having fun, aren't you?
I'm sorry.
Because we got contractors, we got residents, we got staff, we got caregivers that are coming in, and we have to try to get that message to everybody, and it's very difficult. Last week, when I was taking my recycling down, I don't go every day and check it out, but when I went down, I found a large bag, kind of looked like this, and I thought, oh, somebody brought the recycling down. Well, they did, but they also mixed it with medical waste. I could tell, I didn't open the bag, I could tell it's just opaque enough where you could see that there was gauze and other types of stuff in there. And so took that right to the trash. But this weekend, I went down and there were 2 large bags, and they were filled with clothing or bedding or something soft, and I thought, oh boy. They were right on top of the bins, and so I think it must have been family or someone who was moving out or whatnot. But took them and threw them in trash, and amazingly, underneath all that, there was half a dozen bottles of water that they just decided to throw the bottles of water away rather than actually use them. So we've got some issues that we need to address. Now we can try the next slide.
Okay.
This is what we affectionately call a bag. It's a mesh bag that's hanging right next to the recycle bins. And this is where you can put all that plastic that you can't recycle that I just recited in that mesh bag. And so when you take the bag of recyclings, dump the recycling in the bin, put the bag in the mesh bag. And it's very easy. Maintenance empties it occasionally, and they throw all that stuff in the trash. And I know it's being well used by all the residents because that gets filled up pretty quickly. Just that we got to get everyone to do that. And you can go to the next slide, please. There we are. That's why we're here today. We got fined. It's unacceptable, period. It's a controllable business expense, and we need your help in trying to solve this. We need your ideas, and we need your help. Next slide, please. And here's what I mentioned earlier. What can we recycle? Let's go with the big four, the top four. And I got paper. Paper includes newspaper, office paper. We got a few announcements from here. And of course, catalogs. It's paper. Cardboard. I didn't flatten the box because we're going to reuse it. We need to send something in the mail. So otherwise, flatten the cardboard. Plastic jugs, bottles, and cans. Tin cans, aluminum cans. If we can just do those four, we'd make a lot of progress. Again, the nose, plastic bag, and this has got shredded paper in it. This was brought to me by a resident, and it's a double no-no. No shredded paper, no plastic. And of course, this is a bag of packing peanuts. No packing material at all in a plastic bag. And again, this is my recycling. I put them in a plastic bag. I should take it down, dump it out, take this bag, and put it in the mesh bag. Just remember, when in doubt, throw it out. And if you stick with the basic four, the top four, you'll be doing fine. Okay, next slide. Okay, the questions are, can we meet waste management requirements? And it says, how can we reduce fines? I don't think we want to reduce fines. I think we want to eliminate them. And I want to thank Robin. She put this PowerPoint presentation together. And you want to go to the next slide, the action plan? And she did a great job. It takes time and effort. That's why we also are asking for help, because between the two of us. And I also have to thank Joanna Guzik for some of the graphics that she provided for all the posters that we put around and the signs. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Don, because I just mentioned something about the action plan.
Now we have to get some more input. What do you all recommend that we do? What else can we do, okay, to eliminate fines from the management folks and implement the goals that were in the great brief that they just said? So we're open to input. Do we have any input from our residents today? Coming back.
Strawberry containers, are they recyclables, those plastic thin ones?
Robin's shaking her head no.
It's not a jug, it's not a bottle, it's garbage.
Okay.
That's their rules, not mine. So let's just make it easy on ourselves.
How about some input?
One thing I think we all can do, if we see somebody putting something in the wrong container or something that shouldn't go in there, we need to speak up, okay?
Yep.
Now, they may be offended, but, that's okay.
Makes some people mad. Okay, two great inputs.
I wonder about the nice, beautiful, black and clear lunch boxes, all the food we take out. Those, I know it's safe for heating, but afterwards, what can you do? You're piling up every day. And also the plastic, they wrap the drinks. Every small cups, foam cups is wrapped with a lot of plastics. It piled up. I happen to have a daughter, their place, they recycle something. So I clean it and give it to my daughter to bring to recycle. But I collect, every day I have those black food boxes.
If it's not one of those four things, we have really got to make this simple, Helen, to make it through their goals here at Waste Management. I know that Clearwater recycles glass, for example. We can't recycle glass here. They're not our contractor. Those plastic things are not recyclable. They must be thrown away.
I wondered whether our dining room can figure out something. Maybe we could have phone boxes, and at least they do recycle.
That's all under consideration, I'm sure. I hope it is.
Joseph, is the styrofoam still garbage?
The styrofoam is garbage unless you want to take it to publish yourself.
Okay, thank you very much.
One thing I've been noticing is that some people apparently are putting furniture and other household items, they're not bringing them to the trash, they're leaving them in the stairways. If you go in the stairway leading up from Brent's office upstairs, you'll notice a house stool, kitchen stool. It's the first time I've noticed it there. In the trash room, in the far wing, and I never remember what wing it is, but the downstairs trash room, there's been a mobile cart there for about 4 weeks. And somebody, apparently it doesn't work, and they leave it down there. So we all have to do better at throwing out some of the household items.
Tony, it was moved next to the open top trash container. It should be, I saw it there yesterday.
It's been there for
But
several weeks.
It's been moved.
Okay.
I was surprised to see it there anyway.
Yeah.
It just took a while.
Okay, great discussion. Some more input from the residents, please.
Bring my garbage down so it in the bin. And as I walked into the garbage room, all of a sudden I see all garbage, loose papers and cups, all kinds of garbage, just loose coming, falling down. It's like raining. I thought it would never stop. It was garbage all over the place. I felt sorry for the people now coming in the morning cleaning up all this mess. They're just coming down like loose everything forever. I couldn't believe. I couldn't.
We had a 4-week campaign where Joanna and Robin gathered, made posters up, and we put them by the trash chutes to tell residents that everything had to be bagged. There's already existing signs there where we put an extra poster there. What was the names? We had Trish Trash and Recycle Robert and all that kind of stuff. So we tried to make a game out of it because during the height of the pandemic when we got everything delivered, there was an increase in trash significantly. So we tried to address that, but that's a key thing. Everything's got to be bagged when it goes down the trash chute or into the trash.
Well, it wasn't that.
Any other comments? All great input. Thank you. Okay, well, directors, you're going to receive this pitch on Monday morning. Okay, it's your 9:30 meeting. Robin and Chris and I are going to be there. And we ask you to think over the weekend and come in Monday, and we'll have our discussion with the directors and Brant on Monday morning, and we'll ask for your input. So we value your input, and we ask you to think about it. And Brant, we're ready to move on.
We're going to kick off our forum. So I know that the primary thing that you're here to hear about is the COVID clinic tomorrow. It is the 5th of the 6 clinics we've done on campus, including the 3 that were offered to staff and over at the health center. And so I'm going to give up the microphone and ask Leslie to give us an update on our COVID clinic for tomorrow.
Good morning. I'm Leslie, Resident Services Director here. So I wanted to let you know what's going to be happening tomorrow, Saturday, February 6th. When CVS arrives about 10 a.m. and once they're set up, we will start that call them all system that you heard the other Saturday, where we will start calling out our random letters. The pink slips that you received with your letter on it, that's the group you'll be in. Once you hear your letter, you will proceed down to the town hall area where you will see registration tables outside of in the alfresco area. At the table, you'll see a few directors, and behind the directors, you'll see signs that say last names. Please go to the corresponding last name. If you see A through H and your name starts with a C, please go to that line. That's where your COVID consent form is located. You'll go up to the table. We will take your temperature, ask if you're experiencing any symptoms. We will finish filling out your form for you. Once we have that, we will give you your form and your vaccine card. It's the little small white card. You will take these 2 items. You will get in line to enter the town hall. So you'll follow the line and you'll get in line. Please make sure you're practicing social distancing. We need to make sure we're maintaining that. If we don't, they can shut the clinic down. So please make sure you're wearing your mask and practicing social distancing. Once it's time for you to enter the town hall, Brant will have you come in. You'll go to the CVS registration table, hand in your consent form. They will point to you which table you will go to. We have them color-coded. You'll go to that table where you'll be with a nurse or a pharmacist who will give you your vaccine. Once they give you your filled out card again, that sounds weird, card, again, the white card, you will then proceed to the tavern entrance where you will hand in that vaccine card. If it's your first dose, you'll hand it in. If it's your second dose, you'll hand it in still. Once you turn in your vaccine card, we'll give you a sticky note with a 30-minute time on it, and that's your observation time. You have to sit outside for 30 minutes once you receive your COVID vaccine. So once we give you that sticky note, you'll proceed through the tavern, pick up a snack, a drink, and then go to the breezeway, where you'll sit for 30 minutes for observation. So we make sure that you're okay, and we'll be out there with you the entire time. And then once your 30 minutes is up, you will be able to leave. Now the vaccine card, you will get it eventually. We need to make sure it's in our system, it's recorded, and then we will hand you back your vaccine once you've received your second dose. So it might be next week or the week after, but once we're finished entering everything into our system that you've received your vaccine. Any questions?
Briefly, do we get a card saying what medicines we've just taken? I was just wondering if we get a card saying that we've had the most shots, what vaccine we've taken?
Yes, so that's the white vaccine card that I was referring to. That card will be handed to you at the first registration table. We have everyone's from the first clinic, so we'll be able to write down your second dose, and then you will receive that card once we're done putting it into our system. So you'll have to give us time. It could be a couple of days, a couple of weeks before we finish putting everything in our system, have our counts out, and we will return your card to you after you receive that second dose.
We're getting ours off campus at daycare, and we get it also this Saturday. So the people that are getting it off campus, are we to turn our cards in also?
So you don't have to return your cards in to us. What we have is, just like we did for the flu shot, if you received your flu shot, for the COVID shot as well, go to the front desk, inform them that you've had it. Give them the date that you received your first one, and then the date you receive your second dose, as well as the type, if it's Pfizer or Moderna. That list is what I record for our outside shots. If you get a shot here, you do not need to inform the front desk because we have those cards. All right, so be by your phone starting at 10 a.m. We're thinking it will end up going until about 6 p.m. So be by your phone, please, to hear all updates.
All right, so now we're going to jump into our administrative reports. Programs, the annual Roro and management objectives were published for 2021. We were able to get that out there the second week of January. We focused on only 5 objectives this year. We wanted to make sure that it was a manageable and impactful group of objectives. We have assigned our rose holders. You saw this morning in the presentation some reference to one of the objectives. You'll continue to hear more information as our rose holders get together and start to come up with their action plans and address some of the issues here at Regency Oaks. LCS has introduced their indoor quality initiative. It's called EverSafe 360. And during the 2021 capital budget, we will be evaluating what kind of enhancements we can make for indoor quality air improvement. And it's things such as dilution, filtration, ionization, UV lighting, bipolar treatment, humidification. There are a lot of different ways that scientists have come up with since the advent of COVID to try to improve the air we breathe. And LCS sees this as an opportunity to use it as a differentiator to make us stand out among the competition and at the same time provide our residents the benefit of improved indoor air. So what can be wrong with that initiative? Policy, the 2021 capital budgets have been released. We have an appointment to review it with the Regency Oaks board, and once we have done that, then I will share it at a Tuesday talk and bring you up to speed on that. The town hall progress does continue. We are just finishing up the design development stage. We're having a meeting right after forum this morning to talk about the clarification and assumptions that we've made. We're going to be going through that data. I do have a couple of dates. The building permits are scheduled to be submitted on March 15th, and our construction has been defined as 160 days from start to finish. So that's about a little less than 6 months for the construction. The fly in the ointment, and we just don't have an answer for this, is how long that building and permitting process is going to take. Our estimate is that it should be less than 30 days. It's a relatively small project when you look at the number, scope, and size of the projects that they might be considering, but it potentially could take up to 90 or even 120 days. That's the piece we just don't know. So we'll continue to keep you informed, and during the month of February, we will be doing a rollout of the new construction so that you will be able to get the first glimpse of the renderings, the blueprints, the schematics, and finally get an idea of what the new town hall is going to look like. It includes not only the town hall, the auditorium, the new offices, but the new fitness center and the new spa. So we're really excited to be sharing that with you this month, and look for that calendar invite coming soon.
Shoitzo, Director of Financial Services, welcome. My financial report is for the year ended 2020, December specifically. Our occupancy for independent living was slightly below budget by 2. Our assisted living, it was ahead of budget. Health center was below budget by about 11 due to COVID restrictions. Overall, campus percentage, we're at 91% plus for the year ending December 2020. Our December revenue was slightly below budget, 56,000 short. Year to date, we were $176,000 short. However, we did receive $810,000 in stimulus funds. Our Innovative Home Services continues to run ahead of budget on their revenue month over month. In December alone, they were $15,000 ahead of budget in revenue. Year to date, they were $167,000 ahead of budget. They are a big contributor to our bottom line month over month. Ancillary revenue, which is our guest meals and things like that, it obviously contributed to the revenue miss because of the dining rooms and our COVID situation. We did have 7 entrance fee sales on a budget of 7. Year to date, we were slightly under budget by about 5. For expenditures, our total wages and salaries were under budget by $104,000. Mainly this was due to an accounting change in our commissions that we were amortizing those. So that was a little bit of a pickup for our bottom line. Controllable expenses across departments was minimal. We did use up some extra marketing funds, $15,000. We did have COVID expenses across departments that ran about $15,000 plus. So we do continue to have weekly expense and labor meetings with the department heads. We're now working on January's month-end close, so we have our new budget and our new expenses and wages to manage through. Good news is that our net operating income for January alone was $372,000, which was $1,000 ahead of budget for the month. Year to date, our net operating income was ahead of budget by $134,000. So we did, as a community, incur revenue losses throughout the year and increased expenses due to COVID-19. And we do expect this to continue in 2021. However, the community has no significant threats or weaknesses at this time. Just an update on your medical expense deduction tax letters. I received the drafts today. Grant and I will review them. And so what will happen is you'll get a cover letter with the attached letter from the CPA firm, which is actually addressed to Brant. In the title, it references the contract type. So there are 4 different letters. So just realize that if you're speaking to your neighbors, that depending on your entrance fee contract, you will get that particular letter that relates to your contract. In that letter is a reference for your CPA, your tax preparer, that they can contact the outside firm to ask questions at no charge. And it also references IRS guidelines of where and how this expense deduction is eligible. Keep in mind also that the percentage changes year over year due to our operating income, due to our medical expenses utilized in the health center. So 2020, there is a variance of that percentage. Also, if you have friends in other CCRC communities, it is specific to that community's operations. So if they have a similar type contract, their percentage could be different. Again, it relates to our campus only. So the letters will come out probably sometime over next weekend, because it'll take us some time to print them all, get them out. So in about 10 days, you'll have those in your mailboxes. Okay, thank you.
Associate Executive Director here at Regency Oaks. Some of the things that occurred at the healthcare center in the month of January was I started, so I'm excited to be here, and I'm slowly starting to meet some of you and remember your names. Just give me some time, but we'll get there. Denise Burgess, the risk manager, infection control preventionist, started in January. She's currently an interim until we get that position hired full time. COVID cases in the area As we know, we're in the month of January, we're on the increase. The positivity rate was up. So for a couple weeks in January, the healthcare centers had to go to twice weekly testing. It went back down to weekly testing as the positivity rate has decreased to an average this week of about 6%, which is a good thing. We did have 3 associates in the month of January that were positive, but we handled them appropriately to remove them from the schedule, quarantined, and returned to work per the CDC criteria. For census, the ALF continued to run at a full census in the month of January. We're projecting the same thing for the month of February as well. And the SNF census also exceeded budget of 43 with the final census of 43.9 for the month of January. The healthcare center had its 3rd rounds of COVID-19 vaccines. This occurred on January 8th and January 29th. This is both for residents and associates, so that has been completed for the healthcare center in partnership with the Department of Health and also AMR. Tiki Martinez, the new Director of Clinical Services, she started on February 4th, so today is day number 2 for her, and we'll get you introduced to her as soon as probably at the next forum you guys will be meeting her. And our new Assistant Director of Clinical Services, she starts in March. So we have some new team members coming on board at the Healthcare Center New Nursing Leadership, but we're excited for them to join us, and we'll get them introduced to you as soon as probably the next forum. So that's it for the Healthcare Center for the month of January.
And in administration, I conducted 12 sign and notarize sessions for the ad valorem affidavits, assisted with the COVID vaccine administration. Taking temperatures of everyone entering the buildings is being done by the front desk, as well as typing the daily temperature logs for tracking purposes. And the front desks continue to schedule visits. I also want to point out that we've had some scheduling or hiring issues with some of our receptionists, and I would like to ask for your help. If you know of anyone that would be interested in a part-time or full-time front desk position, or any of your friends have family members that are looking for a job in a wonderful environment such as Regency Oaks, if you'd ask that they contact me, I would appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, a very heartfelt thank you to Lou Wise-Logo for helping out so much and so often at the South Front Desk. Thank you, thank you. Ricky.
Good morning. Ricky Baca, Phil Cirque, Food and Beverage. Just a couple updates here. We continue to do our wine club monthly, our beer club. We started our gourmet this past Wednesday. Went off really well. We'll also be putting a book out shortly for more signups for the month of March. We had our chef's table, the food and wine pairing, the cocktail party, and supplied food for the vaccine shot, and we'll do the same tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you.
Plan operations. Here's a couple of updates on our accomplishments. We worked really hard on dropping on the work orders. We dropped down like 80% from last year. Now we are like 20 per day. Last year it was like 100 per day. So we did pretty good on those. We actually finished up the renovations on the laundry rooms on the 5th floor and 4th floor on the south building. We did some repairs on the walk-in cooler on the north building, and the pizza oven was finalized with the gas line and everything. That's everything. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Jesse Rosalie, your EVS director. Some updates from EVS is we conducted the 2 employee raffles, so thank you so much for those that are contacting me, donating furniture. That's probably the proper way to do it. We will take a picture and consider whether there's a item that we can donate, and then we'll post it for the employees to pretty much sign up, and we raffle it out. So we want to encourage that idea instead of bringing it down to the first floor and leaving it there. That's probably the proper way to do it, and I will help you by making sure someone picks it up on time and takes it home. But that's a big benefit and big help. So thank you all for doing so. We also pressure wash those wicker chairs in the breezeway and also in the south and north building. We just have a few more to go in the north building, in the south building. We also clean all the emergency exits in both buildings and we clean the trash cans in the south common area, the outdoor trash cans. In addition to that, we also refilled all the air freshener dispensers in your restrooms as well. And we also detailed Brent's office, so the executive offices have been detailed, and that's including the windows. So we took care of that as well. And also the carpet cleaners were here to take care of the second floor. And that's what we have. And also, touching base on our work orders, we've been able to complete all of our vinyl work orders in addition to our shampoo carpets, and we're moving on to the windows and also deep cleaning, which is definitely a big deal. So thank you all for your patience as we pick up.
In the month of January, we hired 2 new home health aides. We had 1 estate sale, and we are having an additional one this Monday, 9 to 12:30 in the South Building, P211. We provided over 5,800 service hours in the month of January to our residents here at Regency Oaks. Thank you, and I hope to see you guys at the estate sale on Monday.
About January, we received 3 deposits in January. We've got a few more that we're working on now in February. Our goal is by the end of February to have 7 closes, which would be our budget for January and February, so we're progressing nicely to that. In January, we had 31 different visits, in-person visits with people, whether that be a home drop, whether that be someone coming into the office, so that averaged 1 a day, so that was pretty good. We held a lunch and learn on January the 19th with Culinary's help again of producing a very wonderful, memorable meal. We had a smaller turnout than we'd like to have, but out of that, we had 1 person that has since deposited and will be closing this month, so that was a successful event. And then e-blast and postcards, we continue to touch all of our prospects. We had, right after the new year, we sent an e-blast out to all of our prospects talking about the availability and opportunity for our 1-bedroom apartments. And we also sent an e-blast out last week, probably about 10 days ago now, to about 3,000 people, including our internal database and the database that we have purchased with residents on the outside, talking about all the events we have upcoming in February. And then the Sales and Marketing Committee, we met Wednesday. We met Wednesday, and they will be assisting us as we make calls out to all these folks and fill in the attendance for the events that we'll be having in the month of February. The other thing that I want to talk about very quickly is February is American Heart Month. And today, the 5th, is Go Red for Women Day. And LCS has partnered with Johnson & Johnson and with Apple to conduct a research initiative called the Heartline Study. Basically, this is promoting heart-healthy lifestyles. It's to help also understand early detection of irregular heart rhythms consistent with AFib. So this is going to be, this participation study is going to be available to all of our residents within all LCS communities across the country. They have a huge goal of large participation. I'm just giving you a couple of recaps. We'll send an email out that has a link and a lot of other information if you're interested. But to participate, you have to be 65 years or older. I think that works here. You have to have an iPhone 6S or newer, or an Apple Watch. So those are the 2 criteria. You also have to participate in either Medicare or Medicare Advantage to be eligible to be a part of the program. The study will be about a 3-year study. They'll be monitoring things. You'll be inputting information into your watch or your iPhone throughout the time. And what you receive as a part of this, in addition to being a part of a very worthwhile study, you will receive tips on how to improve sleep, fitness, and overall wellness. And then you'll, again, be participating in a very worthwhile project. So again, there's some steps if you're interested to go online. We'll send that link out so that you can connect to that and see, but it's going to be a really worthwhile study, and anybody that wants to participate, you can certainly do so. If you don't have an Apple Watch and you've always wanted one, this is a great opportunity, because those who participate in the study will have an opportunity to purchase an Apple Watch at a pretty good discount. I don't know what that discount is, but I don't get to participate because I'm not quite there yet in terms of the age criteria. Getting close, but not quite there. But anyway, we'll send out a link and information to anyone that's interested, and certainly reach out to me with any questions, and I'll help you get connected with all of that. Thank you.
And in the month of January, I assisted with the setup and the rollout of the new call-em-all system for independent living staff and residents. The directors also completed the employees' annual performance reviews for 2020. And we are in the process of preparing employee events, socially distanced, for 2021.
Hi, Leslie, Resident Services Director again. We had our first COVID-19 CVS vaccine clinic with Pfizer. I completed the Alzheimer's Dementia Heartfelt Connections training with LCS. We had our Good Grief Support Group, our monthly Sharps and prescription disposal, working with the front desk for screening residents, visitors, as well as employees, and maintaining the quarantine less than temperature checks for our residents. A reminder for Saturday, make sure you're wearing appropriate clothing so that the ones administering the vaccine can get to your upper arm, as well as it's about 70, 73 for the high on Saturday, and there could be chance of some showers, so just make sure that you're dressed appropriately. Thank you.
Tiffany Rivers, your Community Life Services Director. Our January monthly birthday party was actually the largest one we've had in a while, so happy birthday, January. We appreciated you coming out. Our community spotlights at Tuesday Talk has been well received. We appreciate everyone that we've had the art class so far, as well as the scholarship fund. So thank you. We intend to continue to roll those out as the months go on. Again, just a reminder, if you are a part of a group, small or large, please contact me and we can get you on the schedule so that you can do your 5-minute elevator speech and let the whole community know your initiative or what you have going on here. As well as we recorded the January Rover presentation. We had our Yeehaw RO experience. We also recorded the Roro quarterly meeting. We introduced Katie Ingleson and her quartet here last month, and we capped out the month with David Perdeza. Just some housekeeping notes. Just a reminder, we do have the shoe donation. Thank you so much for everyone that has already contributed to that. The bin is already pretty full, so I've asked Pastor Chuck to come pick it up this weekend. So he'll continue to do that until March 31st. So get those old pairs of shoes donated. I mean, employees as well. You know, any person that has any old pairs of shoes and they're starting their spring cleaning, please drop those off to the front desk. Also, just a reminder, the Oaks is a wonderful avenue to be able to get all of the new news at Regency Oaks. When the calendar changes, it changes immediately on the Oaks. If you do not have access to that, there's always a paper copy at the front desk. So please stop by there. All of the new information and news is always illustrated in the Oaks. So please, also it's available from your smartphone. So if you need any help with that, you can contact Mary Ellen, Johanna, even myself. I'll be more than happy to help you so that you can get on that email blast every week to get that new information. We also will be putting a notice in all of our group leaders' boxes next week. It's basically to do some great housekeeping. We want to make sure if a room is being used that we know about it, because oftentimes there's a little bit of a collide with the scheduling. So we just want to make sure to stay on top of that and do some good housekeeping starting 2021. And yes, just to let you know, we are canceling the Super Bowl watch party. We had our committee meeting, and based on everyone's opinion, we're just going to move forward just based off of the COVID vaccine and things of that nature. It's going to be a busy weekend, so please still enjoy it in your apartments, and go Bucks.
Grant, you mentioned at the Tuesday talk, I believe, that when you knew about the scheduling for tomorrow with the alphabet letters, you would try to arrange it so everybody's not sitting from 10 till 6 by their phone, and put it in groupings.
So we have decided to go with a completely random system, and so I know it's an inconvenience, and you will not know whether you're closer to 10 a.m. or closer to 6 p.m. But here's what happened last time. Everyone sort of knew, everyone had a number. We were broadcasting, we're on group 50 to 75, we're on group 75 to 100. And people were anxious, and they wanted to get an early start and a jump on their numbers. And so what happened is we were crowding our lobbies, we were overwhelming the elevators. I had people way too close in common areas waiting to get queued up. And so that is something we cannot do. Maintaining good social distancing and wearing your mask and trying to control the traffic flow is critical to our health, safety, and ability to pull this off. You must remember that these are pharmacists and nurses, and they take this very seriously. They have been known to shut down clinics because they were not run according to CDC standards. So I need everyone to be on their best behavior. I need everyone to be patient. I understand that there is an inconvenience associated with not knowing the exact time frame, but we just ask for your patience and cooperation as we work to try to keep everybody safe.